All right, good morning. Good morning. I like to call this a concept Monday. Let me get some of that out your background. I'm pretty excited. As you can see, I was trying to cover something that's pretty important that I'm gonna have to share with you all later on. Yes, that is a $2 bill I like to have hanging in my office. Um, let's see. But today, what I wanted to do was really share some information on how to build a brand. All right, and what are some ways that you can use to? I'm looking back and forth. I have my email open, and I'm trying to push all my calls that way since I am recording on my phone this morning to make sure that we don't get interrupted. But what I wanted to do, I am a marketing major. Let's see, I've been doing marketing and advertising for years now. I've had a pretty good run with marketing. I can tell you, marketing fuels businesses. It keeps the business engine running. You cannot do one without the other. I don't care who you are, what you believe as far as that goes. But I can assure you that marketing keeps businesses doors open. But what I think is important is we often talk about people building their own brand. And what I think is critical is for people to understand exactly what that means, exactly what you need to do to build a solid brand and to keep a brand, right? How do you make sure that your brand is on a solid foundation? How do you make sure that you can build off of that? You can expand your brand, talk to others and introduce your brand, and just make sure that you are strategically in place to see growth within your brand. So what I think is critical is for independent business owners, large businesses, small businesses, whatever the case may be, is they make sure they never lose sight of 8 ways that I put back here, 8 ways that you can make sure you're building a solid strategy around your brand. So we're going to dive right into it. The number one way that you're going to make sure that you're promoting a brand in the most effective way possible is you're actually going to start the brand. All right, you're going to start the brand. You're going to make sure that your brand image is in place, right? Do you have a solid logo? Do you have a solid marketing scheme or color scheme that goes with your brand and your brand promise, your brand foundation, right? Have you made sure that that color scheme matches with your message and maybe your vision? All right. So make sure that you have a solid brand to stand on in the first place. All right. I am fiddling around with this camera to try to get the best angle here possible. All right. So let's see. The next thing is you want to network your brand. All right. Are you telling people about your brand? How are you telling people about your brand? How are you representing that brand? Right. So for me, when we talked about the color scheme as far as your brand goes, are you making sure that you're rocking your brand? Right. Do you have your logo on some of your different items? Hopefully you picked a good color scheme that you're proud of, that you're proud to stand behind. All right, but network your brand. I like to tell people to bring in some strategy as far as how you get others to promote your brand, right? Oftentimes you see people create t-shirts and different things like that, different promotional materials with their logo on it and give that out to their customers. I know when I owned a carpet business here in Greenville, South Carolina, one of the things that we used to do is make sure that we were never short on pins with our logo on it. Why? Because it had our email address, our contact, all of our contact information, but it also had our brand. So it would go from one hand to another hand to another hand. You guys know how pins float all around, right? And the philosophy behind it is genius. All right. You make sure that your brand is touching different people's hands and going in different people's households, right? So networking is all a part of that. Are you meeting people? Are you strategizing to make sure that you get your brand out there by way of networking? Ties into the third one, which is advertising, and we kind of touched on that, right? Making sure that your advertisements match and stand up to what your brand is. We see a lot of companies, big companies, get in trouble for advertising, in my opinion, because they don't have a strategic or a diversity inclusion department within their advertising firm. But we see a lot of brands get in trouble because they advertise and they don't think about, some of our diversity responsibilities. They don't think about how things respond in the social world, or if they're ethical, right? If they're outright moral, right? If it's something that the brand really stands behind, or did they just try to push a quick advertisement out there? We've all seen sins within this area. I know a lot of you remember the H&M situation with the young black child wearing a sweater that was saying something about monkeying around. And we've seen it with several different brands. But what I think is important is when you're doing your advertising, that you pay attention to how your message is getting out. Is this something that you intend on standing behind? Is this something that you proudly represent? Is this something that your staff and your employees, the people who actually keep the doors open, can stand behind and be proud of? So you want to make sure the advertising that you're pushing out makes sense for your brand. Another thing I've seen small businesses make this error a lot is when they push out certain marketing and advertising, they forget to make sure their business can actually afford that. All right, what do I mean by that? I don't mean that the marketing and advertisement is expensive. It can get expensive depending on where you advertise. But what I mean is, are you advertising a coupon that your business can afford? Right? Are you saying Saturday all service is free? We're going to go around and we're going to do all service, right? Are you making sure that the intended goal of whatever that advertisement is matches up with what your company can actually deliver, right? You don't want to make a promise to your customer, and that's what advertising is. You're making a promise, you're bringing awareness to your brand. All right. But you don't want to make a promise to your customer that the business can't keep. All right. So next we're going to go into partnerships. And I like to tie in advertising and partnerships together because they really do work hand in hand. And what do I mean by partnerships? Well, I think it's always creative for you to have strategic partnerships that help solidify your brand. I'll take it back to, I've had a couple of different service businesses before I got into property management and real estate, etc. Being a real estate investor. One of the things that I found that worked very well for us in the service industry was strategic partnerships that benefited both businesses, right? All right, so that's the go-to in business. When I had a cleaning business, I would make sure that we had a great partnership with the the chemical company who provided us chemicals and our supplies. All right. What we wanted to do was make sure that if I got a building under contract to service that facility, my partner or the company in which I partner with to do the supplies was able to bring in their branded products as well to, let's say, the bathrooms, right? And the urinals and different urinal screens, and maybe the cleaning supplies or paper towel holder that we were leaving in there had their logo stamped on it and different things like that. So though those things were our responsibility, what it did was it created a partnership to where I was able to get a lot of my supplies for a lower cost, benefiting my business and benefiting the customer, obviously. But it also brought brand awareness for their brand. And what was significant was, again, it was my client. So I was able to make money off the deal as well. Something that didn't cost me a dime, but a partnership that actually ended up making me more money because it helped me save on the other end. So strategic partnerships like that can actually enhance your brand and of course, your business. A lot of times consumers will often intertwine those two brands and they start thinking of them together. So the next time someone pictures cleaning and maybe they're picturing my cleaning service, they picture that product. Or the next time they think about that product, they're also picturing my business. So it really helps to strengthen your brand. The next thing is going to be social networking. All right. I know a lot of business owners, even today. All right. And when I was going through studying for my business coaching certification and different things like that, we talked to a lot of people who said that they don't want to do anything regarding social events. They definitely don't want to do social media marketing. They wanted to stay away from all of those items. And what's significant about that is that can be such a big part of your business. Networking at social events is critical. All right. I also often tell people when you go to a networking event, you better take as many business cards, all right, about your business or with your contact information on them as the amount of money that you want to make that month. And I do it by the thousands. Why do I do it by the thousands? When I coach people, I tell them that every business card is $1,000. Right. And not, in a literal sense. If you're spending $1,000 per business card, call me. I can definitely get you some for a lower cost. But what I mean by that is I'm saying that every business card is worth $1,000. So it has to be worth $1,000 worth of your time. Right. And the value of who you give it to has to be worth $1,000 to you. So what I mean by that, if I take 30 business cards to a networking event, I'm expecting the cards that I hand out to get me $30,000 in return. All right. So I'm going to make sure that that relationship is mutual. All right. If I give you a business card, I'm expecting one back. If you don't have a business card to give me, I might just give you my phone number and ask for yours back or give you my email address, but I'm not giving you one of my $1,000 business cards, right? Because I am at this event spending my time to meet people that we can build business relationships in a mutual way and we can both grow. If I'm not of value to you, you're not of value to me. And that's just in a fair sense. There may be things that your company can offer me in my brand, right? But I want mutual relationships. Okay. I want to make sure that it's beneficial on both sides because I know that those create the longest lasting relationships. All right. Moving on to freebies, and business cards aren't one of those. All right. Freebies. What do I mean by freebies as far as promoting your brand? I mean doing things that make sense for stretching your brand out. All right. We talked about pens, right? Giving them away for free. We talked about magnets, cup holders, and coffee mugs and different things like that that are inexpensive to your business and your bottom line, but can be of significant value once there is a return. All right. I love going out to different events, especially when it's dealing with children, or dealing with, neighborhoods, or dealing with just anywhere where I can go out and I can shake people's hands and talk to people just about things that are going on in life. I translate that to business as well. Anytime there's a business networking event or a large event that's around leadership and different things like that, I want to go there and I want to give out freebies there as well. Same thing. I care about the things that I'm involved in. I care about my attendance at the event, but I want to make sure I leave you with something that's long lasting about my brand. I want to make sure that you take a look at the information that's on that link that's attached to whatever item I gave you that was free, right? And if there is some interest on that website, as you know, and goes in line with the things that you're interested in or a goal that you're trying to achieve, reach out to me. And that's the way freebies can help to benefit your business. Builds on relationships. And relationships is the seventh thing, right? Relationships are going to be critically important when you're building your brand because you want somebody that's going to speak to the value in your brand as well, right? I often tell people when you speak at an event, make sure they introduce you and your position in your business. Right? And position and titles are not the most important there, but your business is. Make sure that they announce your business because guess what? When you leave that event and people like something that you said, they're going to Google you and they're going to Google your business. So you want to make sure that you're building long-lasting, beneficial relationships to strengthen your brand. Last thing I want to talk about is reviews and experience testimonials. Guys, if any of those other 7 things that I went over were strategic for how you build your brand, reviews are probably the number one. Why? I like to tell people when they say they search for businesses and they're only looking for businesses with the best reviews, you are looking for a bad business, right? Businesses are going to have customers with various experiences. If I was searching for a business and I was going solely off of the reviews, I want to deal with a business that has a good balance, right? Maybe not too perfect, all right? Because now I'm wondering, where are the bad reviews? You mean to tell me there's no customer that's ever had a bad experience, right? And I want to see someone who has, a good bit of bad reviews. But what I want to see, if I see bad reviews, is an honest response. If a company made a mistake, I want to see them apologize publicly on that review. I want to hear how they rectified that situation. I want to see that the brand that I am about to buy into, support, give my money to is actually one of real people. And when real people make mistakes, because systems fail sometimes, right? Services can be bad sometimes. And sometimes we take that knowledge and we go back and we reevaluate our offering and we line it up with our goals and how we move forward, right? We do a strategic analysis of our business offering. All right. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But I want to see reviews that have a very good balanced effort at making sure that it tells me some good and maybe not so good about that business. That it goes into detail and lets me know this is what you're going to get out of supporting this brand. And in the event that we fail at what we offer, this is how we fix that situation and make sure that the relationship that we're creating is long lasting. Guys, I'm super excited. I am Mr. J. Howard. This is one of many Concept Mondays, and we're going to keep bringing them. We're going to do a little better. I want to make sure that I unveil my board here next Monday and show you guys what's behind it. But I wanted to dive into this Monday to make sure that the 8 ways to solidify your brand was in your mind before we jump to this next part. I got to get out here and deal with some of the investment properties and fix and flips and different things like that. We're going to continue to bring these videos to you. I am Mr. J. Howard. That's on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I'm excited. Let's go out there and win Monday. See ya.